Silent Hill 4 is better than Silent Hill 2. That's an opinion I've been hearing more and more. Ever since the Silent Hill 2 remake, a lot of Silent Hill fans want Blooper to remake the 4th game, even though Silent Hill 1 desperately needs it. I won't lie, I'm one of those people. And this got me thinking, is Silent Hill 4 better than Silent Hill 2? Let's talk about that. First, I gotta put my cards on the table. I think that Silent Hill 2 is the perfect game, and I rank Silent Hill 4 the second best when it comes to the OG games made by Team Silent. Okay, cut the video, roll the credits, Silent Hill 2 is better than Silent Hill 4, end of story, the end, bye bye! Okay, for real, Silent Hill 2 is clearly the best Team Silent game, and the perfect game ever. The story is just incredible, the point system determining the ending you get is amazing, the soundtrack is divine! How the game uses the video game medium to its fullest potential is James Sunderland is literally the most human character ever made, and I could go on. My point is that Silent Hill 2 goes beyond everything. It's not just a video game, it's beyond that. It's literally the highest form of art, in my opinion. And Silent Hill 4 doesn't have all this. Yet, in my opinion, there's something that Silent Hill 4 does much, much better than 2. Horror! Okay, I know how that sounds. But Marceline, Silent Hill 2, no, the whole series is a horror series. This is true, yet in my opinion, 2 isn't scary, it's more atmospheric. You're exploring the mind of a man who's dealing with guilt, depression, and wishes to commit suicide. It's emotionally draining, yet so beautiful. It's a horror game that goes beyond the horror. It goes beyond a video game. In my opinion, it feels peaceful to play, and it's soothing. Then we have Silent Hill 4, which is a nightmare that won't go away. Even when I think I'm safe, it will jump at me and go, ah! Silent Hill 4 is the best horror game in the series, and Silent Hill 2 is the best game. So, how is Silent Hill 4 scary? The tone. The victim's death in the game are super horrific. When Jasper and Richard die, there is no music. That's because you don't need it. The sound of fire and electricity makes the scenes more horrifying. Now let's look at some scenes in Silent Hill 2 that have death in them. Angela standing on the hot as hell staircase. The truth scene. Hell, Harry's death in Silent Hill 3. There is music in them. Yes, these scenes are horrific from a literal standpoint. However, they're not scary. I feel depressed, sad, lied to, and more, but not scared. Those scenes are emotional. There are some exceptions, such as Eddie's and Cynthia's death. It goes completely silent for Eddie's death because James is freaking out that he killed another human being. It's just James and Eddie's corpse in a meat locker. Honestly, it's just depressing because James clearly feels guilty for what he's done. For Cynthia's death scene, even with the music, it's still horrific and disturbing. This is the point that Henry learns that if you die in the dreamland, you die for real. Plus, Henry did form a little bond with Cynthia. This moment is sad too. If I may add, in the show, when Omni-Man attacks the Guardians of the Globe and kills Red Rush, the heroic battle music goes away. The music stops. This is done to display the horror of the scene. This isn't a fight anymore. This is a murder. For real, this is good horror. Then there's the gameplay. Silent Hill 4's gameplay adds to the horror. The Hauntings are probably the most talked about feature in the game. What is their purpose? To make you think twice. To make you freak out. Question what you're seeing. What really makes them great is that they are made in a way that takes advantage of how our brain works. The greatest horror is the horror your brain comes up with. 9 out of 10 times, these hauntings will appear at the corner of your eye and you won't notice them. When you do, it freaks you out. Till this day, these hauntings scare me. I'm looking at you, painting, you fuck. And what makes them even cooler is the fact that you won't get them all in one playthrough. You'll get different ones in different playthroughs. And that makes the whole experience even more horrifying. By the way, just a warning, the GOG site that sells old games for PC, sells Silent Hill 4, does not have any hauntings. It's been reported for whatever reason they're not in the port. GG GOG, GG, for removing arguably one of the best features that define the game. So be careful if you're buying that version of the game. There's also first person mode. This is a completely new mode for a Silent Hill game and for Team Silent. And they crushed it! Henry's apartment is your safe place. You can save, you can heal and store items. Making this part of the game in first person makes you feel cozy, safe, and honestly, like home. Then halfway through the game, your apartment goes, fuck off, mate. The safe room does a 180, and now it becomes a nightmare. No home for you. This makes you panic. You got too comfortable, and now the game takes away that safety net. This is masterclass horror. This doesn't feel unfair or cheap. You now have to manage and survive without that safety net. This is how you do survival horror. I wish more games did this. There are the ghosts. More specifically, the victims who become ghosts. Not only do you witness their horrific deaths, but their deaths reflect their ghost form. You have a constant reminder of their deaths. Plus, they will pursue your ass! If you don't deal with them, they're never gonna give you up, never gonna let you down. And those are people found them annoying. And I disagree. They are the perfect stalker monsters. Literally, they can go through walls and objects. I love the fact that one item, aka the sword, can pin them down. But here comes the survival horror part. Do you use them on regular ghosts? Or do you save them for the special victims? This adds to the horror. What do you do? There is none of that in Silent Hill 2's gameplay. Don't get me wrong, there are soft scares and other gameplay mechanics which are masterful, like the point system. In my opinion, the game doesn't want to be a horror experience. The monsters don't really attack you, and even their pyramid thing is kind of bleh in terms of a threat. And that's okay, because they serve a different purpose for Silent Hill 2. It's just that Silent Hill 4 wants to be a horror. Speaking of monsters, in my opinion, Silent Hill 4's monsters designs are scary! I made a video about the lead artist who worked on the monster designs for Silent Hill 4, watch that video. The designs ooze of pain, tortured, abused, and that makes sense because they are victims of Walter Sullivan. The one that perfectly captures the horror of the monster designs are the twins. In my opinion, this is the scariest monster that evolves not one but two infant twin babies! Not only is it depressing to think about, but they act so animalistically. You want to run and avoid them. There's also the patient. I love these so much. My loves! I know they burp, shut the fuck up. I will die on the hill that they are amazing. Okay, they are on the weaker side, but I will make a video defending them. I promise. Another factor that adds to the horror of Silent Hill 4 is that Henry and the other victims are everyday people. There is no cult. There is no scary spooky town with a man called James. It's just a regular person going through a nightmare. Henry is in the wrong place at the wrong time. This means this shit can happen to any of us! And a little detail from Silent Hill 4, which is just my favourite, is watching people walking outside when you're in first person mode in Henry's apartment. Those people are just everyday people. That's Henry. That could have been Henry just walking, minding his own business. But no, you're locked in this nightmare, and they're free. Little moments like this, they really hammer the fact that this shit can happen to any of us. Sure, James is special and so relatable and just the best written character ever, but in terms of horror, making Henry just a dude, that too makes a connection to the player, and it's scary to think about. Watch my Henry video. So yeah, that's what Silent Hill 4 does better than 2, the horror. The sad thing is, maybe Silent Hill 4 could have been equal or better than 2, but it had a rushed development. Yet, despite that, it achieved what it wanted to be, and in my opinion, that's amazing. So, to officially give my take on that statement, no, Silent Hill 4 isn't better than 2. Silent Hill 2 is the perfect video game, and the best Silent Hill game, but god damn, Silent Hill 4 is still a masterpiece, and a bloody good horror game. But hey, that's just me. Do let me know your thoughts. See ya! You know, I've been talking about Silent Hill 2 and 4 a lot. Maybe it's time I talked about Silent Hill 1 and 3.